You know that feeling you get when you find something that you haven't seen in a long time? Yeah, sometimes it can be money, but there's something more powerful than money. What is that? Well, emotions, memories, feelings, nostalgia. That's exactly what I want to show you today. That is the Game Boy from 1989, my original that my parents bought me probably back in 93, so a few years after release, but definitely something I haven't forgotten about. Stay tuned and let's check it out. The original Game Boy was released in 1989. It was released in Japan and North America first, and then a whole year later it was released in Europe. That doesn't happen today. Most things get released at exactly the same time, regardless of where you are. In its lifetime, the Nintendo Game Boy sold more than 118 million devices. Now, to put that in perspective, in Q1 of this year, the iPhone 11 sold a sixth of that number. Think about that for a second. 6 times as many Game Boys were sold than iPhone 11s were sold in Q1 of 2020. I mean, the numbers are just crazy. It just shows you how popular that games console was. A handheld device you could take with you on car rides, to play with to go to your friends' houses. You could connect up and link up. And it wasn't the best console, right? It was just about having that ability to game. And usually that's what happens when you have the first of something, or one of the first. It's the novelty behind the idea. It's never about perfecting it, but it's about having something that engages the users. And I can tell you one thing, me, my brother, even my mum, we were really into our Game Boys. Me and my brother, we had one each, and I'm telling you, for me, it was just one of the highlights of my childhood. And when I found it at my parents' house, it just brought back those memories, just flooding back, playing Super Mario, spending hours trying to compete with that 8-bit screen, that bulky little machine, and trying to catch the light just so I could get some of the, just so I could see more of the screen. You know, the contrast wasn't fantastic on it. But, you know, that brings me on to one thing, right, which is the design. And the design of the Game Boy is still a classic, you know. It's that thick brick-shaped design. It's grey and it's got those cherry-coloured buttons, the A and B, that nostalgia kind of just etched in the device itself. You know, it's got one speaker grill at the front, and you can see it's got what they call a dot matrix screen at the top, with a little LED indicator showing you how well the battery's performing. To be honest, it's not really a great indicator, but hey, you know, that's what we had to deal with back in 1989, right? And one other feature which actually a lot of our phones don't have today, and that's a headphone jack. So right at the bottom you've got a 3.5mm headphone jack, which actually plays in stereo. I mean, it's amazing. Trying to listen to a game in stereo from a console in 1989 is just fantastic. And when you turn to the top of the Game Boy, you can see it's just a simple switch, on off, nothing, no buttons, anything like that. And at the back, what's powering the Nintendo is 4 AA batteries. And to be honest, that's all you needed back then. You just get a set of rechargeable ones if that's your thing, or you just carry a bunch of spare batteries with you at all times. And to be fair, you know, the gaming time on that is around 13 to 15 hours, so you can get a reasonable amount of gaming out of them. But like I've already mentioned, that screen sometimes can be a little bit difficult to see actually, unless you have direct light like I've got here, and you're always struggling to find that good lighting spot. But hey, you know, that's what you get. So on one side you have the volume control, it's just a simple scroll wheel up and down, and on the other side you have the contrast. There's also a DC power option, but I don't ever remember using it, to be honest. I just remember having loads of batteries and loads of games, and that was really it. And the only game I could find was Kirby's Pinball Land, and to be honest, it wasn't my favorite game. It was a game that I had, and it wasn't one that I got to choose, but you know, it's still fun to play today, and I still can't beat my score from back then. I suppose I had more time to play games, and I was probably a lot better at it back then, but yeah, the gameplay is pretty good. It's still engaging, the speaker's loud enough, And actually, there's one thing I haven't mentioned. The biggest piece of nostalgia is when that thing turns on. And I'm just gonna insert a little clip for you here, and you're gonna hear that nice little ring when the Nintendo logo just drops to the bottom of the screen, and you hear that sound. I'll put it in here just for you guys to listen to. After watching this video, if you found yourself itching to go and buy a Game Boy, I'm telling you, you should just go right ahead, because the nostalgia factor alone will make up for any cost. And to be honest, they're pretty cheap. I found them on eBay for around 40-50 pounds, so maybe what, $70. And depending on the condition and how many games come with it and accessories and all that kind of stuff, you might be able to get an even better deal. Maybe get it as a package, get yourself a few other bits. But yeah, you know, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to click that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.